peas are ready.
Oh, yes.
Look at those, look.
Oh, how many in there?
10 lovely sized peas.
Fantastic.
It's one of the great things about the alderman pea. The pods get nice and big, so you get anywhere between sort of 10 and 12 peas in a pod. And there are many, many, many pods. In fact, when I can't find Mrs. W, I come to here.
I have to do quality control.
Of course you do. Now, today we're returning back to plot 3. And it's all changed, as we said in part 1. But this time, it's time to harvest our garlic and our shallots, and then put the succession plantings in. I'm asked, when do I know when my garlic is ready? Well, I have to say that an awful lot of knowing when it's ready will come from experience. So I know, and Mrs. W knows, that as we approach the end of June, garlic is ready to harvest. You can read a lot of text and talk to people and they'll say to you, oh, you need to wait till all the leaves have gone brown. No, you don't. No, you don't. If garlic is left in too long, it actually starts to split and the cloves begin to come apart. I would say, for me, these are now ready to harvest. I can see that the leaves are now starting to go over. But not only that, hopefully the camera's picking up that we now have rust that's arrived. And the last time we looked at these leeks, when did we harvest the ones in the greenhouse? About 3 weeks ago, must have been. When we looked at the ones outside, they were actually looking pretty good, considering the time of year. But look how much the rust has come on over this last 3 weeks. So the leaves aren't going to be particularly doing much anyway. So we might as well begin our harvest now. This first row is a variety that we've grown for quite a while now, which is Solent White. We like it, we like the taste of it. It also lasts really, really well. So let's, he says, have this up.
It's in there very well.
It is, the roots are down really, really well. Oh, look at that. And we got some really nice specimens from the greenhouse, if you remember. Look at this, look. That's great, Mrs. W.
Very, very good. Yeah, very nice.
And the cloves have all split nicely, so we have cloves.
Superb.
But not so much that they're actually now starting to come away from the bulb. Amazing. That really is really quite good.
I noticed there was 2 together there, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Have they actually made a bulb, both of them?
Yeah, they have, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they've made a bulb each, not as big as that one where
No.
they're singular. You wouldn't expect it to, but... And it's...
Certainly useful bulbs.
By the way, in the comments, if anybody knows why sometimes you plant a single clove, which this was, beginning of October last year, why you suddenly get two, because I don't really know the reason why that happens. There really was only one clove that was planted there, yet now that it's come time to harvest, we've suddenly discovered that we have two bulbs. Smell is unbelievable, Mrs. W.
I know, it was lovely.
And what I do always like to do is to take the outer sheath off of the garlic, and then they can go to cure, rather than leaving all of the old stuff on. I just find that a better way to get them to cure so that they can store well over winter. Now, one thing I am rather interested in, Mrs. W, is to see what the Picardy is looking like, because
the ones in the greenhouse weren't as
no, they're
big, were they?
no, they were quite disappointing,
Yeah.
weren't they?
They do look good.
Oh yeah, they do look a lot better
They do? Oh yeah.
outdoors. Yes, they do actually.
Lovely.
And for those of you that follow our channel regularly, you'll know that we've tried two different varieties along with the Solent White that we normally grow, just to see what they're like really. And do we want to stick with Solent White, do we want to move over to Picardy, or do we want to move over to Mersey White? We'll make that decision later on in the year. The outdoor garlic really is looking quite good. So now that we've harvested the garlic, let's see what our shallots are looking like. Now in here we grew two different types. We've grown our Jumeau, which we got a lovely harvest from out of the greenhouse well over a month ago now. And they're all from our own saved sets. But we've also decided to try a new variety this year called Longor. We haven't grown that before, so I'm going to be interested to see exactly what they're going. Oh, look at those.
Oh, that's looking good, isn't it? Really nice size.
Oh yes. They're a really good size shallot. Very, very good.
They're nearly the size of an onion, aren't they?
They are. They are indeed. And these are our Jumeau. They never let us down.
They're a really nice shallot.
Yeah. But it's interesting, once again, just like the garlic we grew in the greenhouse, the shallots we grew in the greenhouse were much larger, weren't they?
Yes, yeah. Those are still a nice size though,
Oh,
for
yes.
a shallot.
Oh, yes.
So they were grown from our self-saved sets from last year. And the Longor, you purchased some new sets for that, didn't you? Those.
8 shallots from that one bulb.
Wow.
This goes to show you just what great value shallots are. I often talk to people when I'm out and about and they'll say to me, oh, I don't bother growing shallots, but actually they really are a great crop. And I always find the flavour is much more intense couple of those and, you know, that's your onion taste. Well, I have to say, Mrs. W, I'm really pleased with
They look superb.
these Longor.
Very good.
I can't wait to taste them now.
Yeah.
See what their taste is like.
I think you're going to need a bigger basket.
I think you could be right.
You've only harvested three plants and that's already full.
Now, we're in our front garden now. We don't often come out here, as you know, but we have been growing our asparagus in here, which we grew from seed. And see, we've just sort of tied it up to stop it flopping around everywhere. But yeah, that came through. It's all really good. You can see Mrs. W's been busy planting up marigolds.
My favourites.
Paula T, she liked the marigolds in the raised bed. I did have to confess to her that Mrs. W went round afterwards. Wasn't me and Charlie. Me and Charlie, we only plant things we can eat. Actually, your straw flowers looking really good.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? I haven't ever grown those before. And
Oh, yeah, they are quite.
they've grown from a seed packet that I found in some of my dad's belongings that I think they were dated from 1999.
There you go.
I've been slowly working through his seeds to see if any of them germinate. I've had some dwarf lupins and now I've got these straw flowers.
They've been waiting for their moment.
They have, and they've got it now.
What we are here to do, we've got some figs on here, look.
We have. Only a few, but that's better than none, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, what we are here to do is to have a look at the elephant garlic. Quite exciting for myself and Mrs. W, because we've never grown this before. So, it'll be our first ever harvest of elephant garlic. So, let's see what we have. Well, look at the size of that.
Oh, no, I saw something. I think those little bits on the bottom, they will, in a couple of years, become garlics. I think. We need to read about that, Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd best do some research on that. They definitely have got little sort of bulbs though, haven't they?
Yeah. I think we need to read about those. And
I think I've read somewhere if you plant them up, but you can't, they won't be ready for harvest next season.
No,
it'll be the season after as they bulk up.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the way, guys, if any of you have grown this before and you know about this, please do let us know, because we don't. But we are, however, very pleased with that bulb.
That is a superb bulb, isn't it?
Isn't it just? Actually, it doesn't. People say that it's from the leek family, but actually, have a smell. It really smells quite garlicky.
Yeah, well, I think it's supposed to be garlicky, but that is from the leek family. You can tell by I think you can tell from the leaf, how the leaf structure grows, that it's from the leek factory. Family, even. How's that one? Oh, yes. That has split into, has it?
Yeah, it has, yeah. It has split a bit, yeah.
Yeah, that has. Oh, this is all exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, glad we had a go with those.
So am I. But if any of you who are watching know what we should do with these next, apart from eating them, because we are going to try them, can we actually save any of these bulbs to replant next year? Do let us know down in the comments box below. And now that we've cleared those shallots and garlic, we can now get on with the next piece of successional planting. And this first piece here is going to be leeks. We're growing two types this year. Our normal, which is Portobello, and I'm going to try a different variety too, which was Winter Giant. So they're just about the right size that we need, really. All I'm going to do is just loosen these and then tip them out of the tub. There we go. Now we sowed these last April, and it's now the end of June, so you can see the sort of size that they're getting to. And all we did was just sow them in one container, as you see, and then that gives us enough, plus some extras, because my brother likes to grow a decent leek, for friends and family. I've already started on the holes, and what I do like to do is to dib the holes at 9-inch intervals, so 9 inch within the row and 9 inches between the rows. And what we did do, we watered here yesterday evening and then let that penetrate down so that when we went to dib the holes, they didn't collapse in on us. You can imagine with all this dryness and very little rain, it's quite crumbly, the soil, and it will collapse in, which you don't really want with leeks. So what we're going to do is just tease some leeks out. You don't need to worry about how much root you get or how rough you are with them, they're going to be fine. And then all we do is to pull one away and then pop it in its hole. That hole has been dibbed to 6 inches in depth, and that'll give you a nice white shank. We don't multi-sow our leeks. You can, I've seen people do it, but we prefer our leeks with as long a white shank as we can. So although we're No Dig, we do dib these holes down to 6 inches. And it works perfectly. The other thing that I would say is that some people will say to you that, you know, it's a good idea to trim the roots and trim the leaf and then put it into the hole. I've only ever done that once, and that was the very first year that we ever started growing our own. Reason being, my dad did it. And you know, when it comes to gardening, so many of us, we do something because it's always been done. This is the way I've always done it, this is the way you'll always do it. If you try to get out that mentality, you'll find other ways of growing these things. I'm no longer, and haven't since that day, trimmed anything on these leeks. Hello, Poppy. They're not ready for you to eat yet.
Oh.
It makes no difference at all. Plant that like that and it's going to grow perfectly well. I don't know if the camera's picking up, but you can also already see that it's starting to bulb up and start to get a bit of a white shank where it's been underground.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
And that will only continue while it grows. Now, Winter Giant is a mid-season leek, so it should be ready somewhere around November and will take us through December and January. Whereas Portobello, which is the other variety we grow, that's always ready as from October for us when we sow them at this time of the year. And Portobello, it's a good variety because it will stand all year. We've been harvesting Portobello, you know, end of March, haven't we? April, in some years.
Yes.
So it's a great variety if you only want to grow one variety. But we've decided we want to just try something different. So now this is the bit, if you're new to gardening, that a lot of people can't quite get their heads around. And that is, all you do is just drop some water and fill it right up to the top. And you do that to each hole. Never push the soil in. The idea of leaving that hole like that is that it provides a chamber for that leek to swell to the size leek that you want to eat. If you push all the soil back into the hole, it's going to struggle because it's got to put the resistance against the soil won't let it get a nice round decent sized shank. The idea of the watering is that just pushes down some soil from the sides to cover the roots at the bottom to help the roots settle in and grow. Now of course, over a period of time the soil will begin to slowly collapse into these holes. But because it's doing it gradually over time, it's a very loose soil, not a compacted soil. That's lovely, Mrs. W.
Oh, good.
A nice lime and soda, yeah. It's really warm, isn't it? It's 29 degrees today, which is, you know, not like 40 degrees what we had last year, but here in the UK, for those who don't live here, 29-30 is quite warm for us. And it is important when you're gardening to keep yourself hydrated in this really hot weather. Otherwise you won't be around to get your harvests. Now you can probably see that we've put some hoops over here, and that's because of something called the leek moth. Now, touch wood, we have actually never suffered with it. But I was looking on a report and I've seen some evidence that it's quite near Norfolk, certainly down Suffolk way. And I don't want to get caught out because it's devastating. You know, leeks are in the ground for a long time. These, we won't see the light of day again from out of that ground until late October and into November. And to then find out that the crop is no good can be really devastating. So, I'm not taking no chances. This year, they're going to be netted. I don't like to because it's lovely to see the lovely green stems and everything growing, but we have to cover most everything else, brassica-wise, which we grow a lot of, so it doesn't really make a lot of difference. And we can see what's going on because this mesh that we use, you know, we can see straight through it and see exactly what is going on and see how our little plants are doing. But next, I need to do succession planting here. Now the first set of holes that I've dibbed, nothing is going in those today. That is because they will be our greens for October. If you remember the last succession video in plot 4, we put our greens in for September and they're doing really well. So that's what they're reserved for. Mrs. W actually sowed the seed for those in mid-June, so they'll go in mid-July. The reason why they're there is because they're going to be the biggest plants that we're going to be growing in this bed. And the sun is there. It's there for most of the day. It starts the other side of our house and it moves all the way around until it gets to the woodland at the back. But it doesn't reach there until, well, probably 4 o'clock in the afternoon now at this time of the year. So for most of the day the sun is actually shining nicely here, and what I don't want is for those, when these plants get larger, to shade the smaller plants. They all need sunshine to be able to grow. So at the front we're going to be putting in some swede, and here they are. This is a variety called tweed. Swede tweed. And it's a variety that's, it says it's especially developed for the British climate. We have grown these before. The very first year we grew them, we got some respectable Swedes, didn't we? We did. Last season, not so. No. But they did get attacked by the white butterfly while we were on holiday, and unbeknown to us, because they looked pretty healthy when we put them in the ground, but then we saw they'd been eaten severely. So we never got our Swede, and we do like, well, you like a cheesy Swede, don't you?
I love cheesy Swede mashed, yeah.
So pop him in the
Strange
ground.
as I am.
And as I like to do with all brassicas, nice and deeply right up to the first set of leaves there. These were the seedling leaves that first came through. And then that gives that, especially a swede, because it develops underground. But when you do it with, cabbages and cauliflowers and calibres and things, by planting a little bit deeper, it saves a bit of wind rock. It's more stable within the ground. So let's pop those in. I've already pre-dibbed the holes. I'm sure you don't need to see me dibbing holes. You've seen me do that many times. Now if we just swing the camera back round to plot 4.
And Poppy asleep in the shade.
Good old Poppy.
Yeah.
You'll see that we put a bit of a catch crop in, which were some radishes, and it's worked really well. Remember I said to you that they'll be ready long before those brassicas fill that space out. And we actually do need to be pulling the rest of those because some of them are starting to go to seed. You do often find that with radish at this time of the year, the hot weather. So, as with spring onions, we're always repeat sowing the radish. So every month we sow another 10 plants of radish, another 10 plants of spring onions, that we've always got a good supply of that. We like the taste of that in our salads. As a good salad vegetable. And there's always 5 or 6 in each cell. Although Mrs. W looks like she's gone over the top with this one, but never mind.
I double sowed that one.
But it really doesn't matter a radish. You can eat them the size you want to eat them. Just twist them out like we do beetroot, which is the largest ones, and leave the others to grow on. But at this time of the year, they really don't take long to grow at all. We only planted that bed up in mid...
I think it was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it was.
I was going to say.
They've just, yes, ideal conditions for them.
So it's a great way to use the space in your beds, so you don't have to find a designated space for these plants. Now, of course, these will be covered because these are a brassica and certainly the swede. And there's nothing pigeons like more than the taste of brassica leaves, and there just went
Goes
a
the white
butterfly.
Eyeing up the
And
Swedes
she would
already.
dearly love to lay her eggs on there. So we're going to finish filming on that note, and we'll come back when we've covered everything.
Quick.
Catch the butterfly. That's the covers over everything to hopefully prevent any leek moth, and most certainly any cabbage white butterflies to lay their eggs on our brassicas. We decided in the end to actually use the big piece of mesh that we had. So I actually have some kohlrabi that we started off last month, and I am actually going to run those down the middle there where there would normally be a pathway. And then when they're done and gone, hopefully by then I'll have purchased some more blue piping and mesh, and then we can separate these off. For now, that's doing an absolutely fine job. Now, I do hope you've enjoyed today's video, part 2 of All Change in Plot 3. All the plantings are in place now, which will see this plot through autumn and winter, with the sprouts, the kale, parsnips, leeks, swede and cabbages, Romanesco and cabbage once they just get popped in. They need to get a little bigger first before they go into their holes. So it's just an eye of ensuring that they're well watered when they need to be, and especially over the summer months. Don't forget these plants, because they have gone in young. They're not going to benefit from the high rainfall that the plants we put in February and March get. So keep an eye on them for watering. And I don't particularly know which order these videos are coming out. You probably notice there's one or two coming out in quite quick succession. That's because all of a sudden there's quite a lot to do, and we didn't want you to miss any of it. So, but it is right at the very end of June, and that's when these have gone into the ground. Now, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. We'd love you to subscribe to our channel and follow us along through our journey of growing our veg throughout the year. And we shall see you next time.